Now, Jack, I'm going to come to you. Eurovision night. Is it a little bit divisive in your house? Because obviously, you know, you're English, but you're Italian as well.
A little bit. It's only now that my kids are really into it. It's that age where they're suddenly really into it. So it's divisive amongst them more than amongst...
Oh, really? Because I was going to say, with your wife is English.
Yes.
So are you cheering on Italy?
My daughter, usually, it's the same with football. My daughter and my wife go for England, me and my son go for Italy.
Right.
And it's kind of the same with Eurovision. I think Ollie is amazing, but Angelina... The Angelina Mango song is cool. I really like it. So
yeah, I got that song in the sweepstake.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Did you? I think it could do it.
I don't even know who I've got.
Buongiorno. Yeah.
I need to find out who I got.
Yes, I did.
I need to find out who I got.
Anyway, now then, so Eurovision this weekend, but Bake Off the Professionals, Ellie, is back.
Yes.
All new to you last time, but of course now you are a seasoned pro yourself.
Yes, my second series hosting it, so now I know what to do. I know to take the biggest Tupperware I can possibly find.
Brilliant.
And stock up on the patisserie. It's the best job in the world.
I was going to say, do you walk away with like the best like home-cooked meals sometimes? And,
Yes.
Apparently the judges as well give you some lovely stuff as well.
Cherish and Benoit, yeah, and they cook for us. And Benoit works at La Gavroche, very fancy restaurant. Yeah. He brought in beautiful cheese and wine, charcuterie, and we had it all in the dressing room at lunchtime. Put on some French music, like we're in Ratatouille or something.
Ratatouille.
It's lovely.
Do you do any cooking?
No, I just eat it. I dip my finger in and go, ooh!
Are you any good at cooking?
No!
Excellent, perfect.
I like cake.
Very good, very good.
So, you know, for those who haven't seen it, obviously this is high level, you know, pastry chefs going head to head. But one challenge apparently blew you away.
Oh, they've been so... I mean, every season there's fantastic challenges, but there was a fantastic Mythical Beasts one this year. Oh, and the things that these chefs create, they're sculptures, they're works of art, but you can eat them. And honestly, they blow me away every year. They're fantastic.
Yeah. Eddie, we were doing our research, and we understand that you prefer your bakes just in a bowl. Is that correct? Just straight cake mix?
Oh, no, well, this is the thing. My mum died when I was very young, but I liked to do cooking with her. And she'd make cake mix and do the whisk thing, and then I'd get to lick the spoon on the whisk, which I thought was like, would I do the washing up? Is this washing up? Oh, this is amazing. But then she'd put it into the oven, and it came out less good than the taste I had when it was just cake mix. Because that stuff, and then you've got to put stuff on top of the cake to make it like the cake mix. So later on in life, I just used to make the cake mix and eat it. And then get sick because it's like a cake in your stomach. Yeah. Oh, that's what cookie dough is, you know, ice cream. If you think about it, it's cake mix. It's the full sugary without, I don't know, with the air and the thing and the cookie.
Yeah.
But,
do you tell your kids that they can't lick the spoon?
Well, I let them, but I go, oh, there's raw eggs in that. That's so old-fashioned, isn't it?
No, no. Well, I don't actually know if it does matter. Anyway,
I don't know whether it does either, but anyway. Now then, Ellie, alongside Bake Off the Professionals, we have to talk Sonic the Hedgehog, the spin-off. Oh, my goodness. You were voicing a baddie.
I was being a baddie, Alex.
Being a baddie.
Yeah,
well, not voicing a baddie, being a baddie.
Yeah.
This is all about Knuckles, though, isn't it?
So Knuckles, who is Sonic's friend, who he's a CGI character you'll see there, but he's sort of up against quite a few villains. There I am as a villain there, and yeah, it was like I've never done anything like this before. In regards to acting, I was doing stunts and I had weapons and everything, and a wig. I mean, I had it.
I like the wig, the bob.
It is a lot of fun for those people that have seen the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. I mean, you're going to absolutely love it. Let's take a look.
What's up, nuts?
Don't try anything, Echidna. You're coming with us.
Do I look like I need your power?
What are you talking about? Of course we need his power. It's the whole reason we're here.
Now, as we saw there, Ellie, lots of action scenes in this.
Yeah.
And apparently you said that doing Strictly helped you.
Yes, it did a bit, because I came out of Strictly not too far in advance of filming that, and I was used to sort of learning choreography at that point, and putting myself in situations where I felt ridiculous, but just sort of learning it and trusting the process, and, you know, eventually I got better, and I didn't want to cry in a corner every day when I had to pretend to hit an imaginary echidna.
Oh, exactly. And we mentioned earlier that Idris Elba's in this.
Yes.
But you haven't met him yet.
No, because when I was fighting Idris Elba, it was, you know, a little stuntman on his knees.
I was going to say, yeah, because obviously Knuckles is an
quite
animated,
small.
Disappointing.
small hedgehog.
I know, so I've yet to beat up Idris Elba, but fingers crossed one day.
One day.
Things will come true.
So it's
Tennis ball on a stick.
Yeah.
No, a bit more advanced.
Bit more.
Yeah.
Please tell me, so just from my brain, so it's a stuntman
It's a
on his
stuntman
knees.
like crouching down, or a plastic figure of Knuckles staring at me.
Oh, wow,
Like
okay.
this, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
yeah.
Hey, well, look, you can watch Knuckles on Paramount Plus now, and Bake Off the Professionals, excuse me, starts on Channel 4 next month.
Still to come tonight, Eddie tells us all about putting a new twist on a Shakespeare classic, and Jack will be transporting us to Italy with a special performance from his latest album.
Yeah. That's a fix.
That's how it works.
Come on.
You can watch... You can watch the Eurovision Grand Final tomorrow from 8 o'clock on BBC One and iPlayer, right after a double dose of Doctor Who, which kicks off at 6:20.
Yes. Now, talking of music, Jack, very shortly you're going to be performing for us. We've had so many messages come in. Laura has said, well, she's got a question for you. She said, what has inspired and influenced you on the making of your first Italian-speaking album?
There was a few things. Unfortunately, it kind of goes back to what Eddie was talking about, having that memory of his mother cooking and licking the spoon and having that experience.
Yeah.
My father passed away 2.5 years ago, and our connection was very much through music. My connection to Italian heritage was fundamentally through music, because I didn't really live there. It was always somewhere I visited. So this isn't really a love letter to Italy. This was at a time where I had emotions I'd never felt before, experiencing something that I'd never experienced before. Italy was kind of there for me, my Italian friends, my Italian family, and Italy as a country sort of embraced me, because at first I thought I'm going to have to back away from this for a bit. It was almost too much to take. Instead, I felt like I was invited in, and everywhere I went in Italy, people smelled like my dad, they sounded like my dad, they dressed like my dad, so I had this sort of comfort. And while I was there, I realized I love singing in Italian, but I don't know how to write in Italian. So I asked a few of my friends who are amazingly established artists in Italy to sort of help me, to teach me. And so for a year and a half, I was definitely the dumbest guy in the room with a lot of amazingly talented Italian writers. And I learned about the language, I learned about the culture, I learned about my heritage. And I always felt the presence of my father very much with me on that. And so it ended up being not so much a love letter to Italy, but more a postcard from Italy, kind of telling everybody who wasn't with me, you've got to come and see what I found. You've got to come and see this not new me, but this kind of, I've sort of come out of this very dark place, thanks to my heritage, but thanks to a culture that I just absolutely adore. So I wanted to celebrate it by making an album which is light, and it's not, the album isn't heavy, even though it was born from that. It's a very sort of light and festive sort of album. Tonight I'm going to try and do a sort of a mix, take an Italian song, but do it half in English.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah,
You've gone for both, yeah, exactly.
Well, we've heard it. It sounds lovely.
Thanks.
That'll be a treat. Now then, there's brilliant artists on the album.
Yeah.
Natalie Imbruglia.
Italian. Imbruglia.
Oh, Imbruglia.
Which I sort of have to remind her a lot of times. She's super proud of her heritage. When I was actually telling her this story, she was like, oh, I'd love to do that. Oh. And I was like, well, like I said, it was like a postcard to all these people. We got Miles Kane on it, Carla Morrison from Mexico on it. A lot of people reached out to me and were like, are you making an Italian record? Is this true? And I was like, yeah. And a lot of people wanted to just get involved with this. It was really cool.
And what about Zucchero? Who is one of your
one of my legends. He is one of Italy's legends. He's one of the few guys that didn't make Italian music. He makes music and it happens to sometimes be in Italian, which is what I want to do with this album. This isn't an Italian album. This is a record that I would have made anyway. It just happens to be in Italian. And Zucchero is not pastiche in that way. He's super influenced by music from all over the world. He just happens to occasionally sing in Italian.
I think this is very important, that music is music and the language behind it is whatever it is. And you don't even have to know the words. Like opera, we watch in German and Italian. Most of us don't know what the words are. And I found when I was doing stand-up in different languages, the comedy translates. Brand names don't translate. Names of politicians and things don't move country to country, but everything else, haircuts and supermarkets and families, you can talk about anything you want.
I was in complete awe of you doing that when you did that, especially when I saw that you did the German comedy, and I was wondering how that translates. And now that I've done this in Italian, I admire you even more.
Well, you know, everyone has a sense of humour. We say Germans have no sense of humour, but of course some Germans have no sense of humour, some Brits have no sense of humour, some Italians, but 100%. Most people do have a sense of humour, and you can reach out to them.
You can get Jack's album, Miss Italia, and a lovely cover, by the way, Jack.
Thank you.
As well.
Well, it's the postcard that I was I wanted to wish you were here kind of vibes.
It's very wish you were here kind of vibes. It's out next Friday, and you can see him perform a song from that album, as we said, very shortly. We're going to let you go now over to the piano area, Jack. Thank you so much.
In a sec. So much culture tonight.
I know.
So much culture, and we're carrying it on. We're going to talk Hamlet. I mean, Eddie, you know, you're bringing the stage show of Hamlet, your stage show, your solo stage show.
And it is William Shakespeare's Hamlet. It's not, some people might think I've done a comedy version. No, it's real Hamlet, drama, the drama. There's little bits of comedy, certain characters are rather comedic, but it is.
And yeah, and it's been so hugely successful. I mean, you've been doing it in New York.
It's 4 months now, yeah. 3 months in New York and about a month in Chicago. Rave reviews and 2 nominations. So.
I mean, it's unbelievable. So what made it so important for you to bring this to the UK?
Oh, you've got to bring it home. You've got to bring it home.
Got to bring it home.
Shakespeare's from, you know, his English is British, and you need to bring it. I was always going to bring it back home, but your hardest critics are in your home country. Yeah. So best to see what New York thinks, see what Chicago thinks, and they seemed very positive. And with my director, Selena Cadell, my older brother Mark is doing the adaptation, and we'd already done Great Expectations in that way.
Yeah.
So we're building on that, and if you're a fan of Shakespeare, it really will work for you. The beauty, the poetry is all there. And if you're not a fan of Shakespeare, I think it also works for you because it is an accessible version of the script. Right. All the beauty is there, all the character arcs are in there, but you should be able to grab it and follow it. If you're 9 to 90, between those ages, it should be great for you.
Wonderful. Well, you mentioned Great Expectations. You came on last time because you were talking about how you were going to play 19 characters. Yeah. I mean, you've upped the ante because there's 23 this time in Hamlet.
Yep.
How exactly does that work?
Well, the 19 and 23 doesn't make the big odds because it's really 8 main characters, you know, like in Great Expectations, it was something like that. So, but the way in my stand-up, I had developed a thing, because I came from sketch comedy, I used to play one character, but in my sketch comedy, in my stand-up, had to play them all. So I would just turn and do this sort of quarter turn to play one character to another, and then I found I could do it in drama. Why not do it in drama? So I've done it in Great Expectations, and now with Hamlet. And with the imagination of the audience, they paint in the characters, they hold it in their heads, and it gets more beautiful. As long as the audience is an intelligent and an imaginative audience, they're there. If they don't have intelligence and imagination, it probably wouldn't work for them so well. They just say, there's some person rattling around the stage. But also I'm playing male and female characters, and I am trans and gender fluid, so it's a beautiful way of making all the characters work.
Yeah, lovely. Yeah. You mentioned that you were working on it with your brother Mark, who's adapted it.
Yeah.
Was it lovely to work with family?
Well, it is. If anyone's worked with family, it can be tough. You can get into arguments, but also Selena Cadell, a great director, and we could, if both of them said it has to be this way, then I would go with them, even though I was pushing back strongly. And we had artistic arguments, but it was great. But with Mark, you know, our mother died when we were kids, and she loved amateur dramatics. So for her to know, I don't believe in a God, I'm afraid, but if she's out there as Stardust and she knows that older brother's doing the adaptation and younger kid is doing the performance, then I think she'd be happy.
That's a mother's dream.
Oh, right there. Yeah, that's really, really nice. There's actually a connection between you both that we realise. Ellie, through Ted Lasso, you're well versed in Crystal Palace.
Right.
The football club.
Did you film at Crystal Palace? Because they used the ground.
Selhurst Park.
I don't know where I filmed. I was in a football stadium.
I will tell you, you filmed at Selhurst Park.
Thank you.
I've watched it and go, that's ours, that's ours. What, and it's got our colours, you've got our colours as well. And then you cut to Richmond FC, and I'm going, that's not us. And I'm going, this is so odd.
But Eddie, how are you linked to the club?
Yes, I'm an associate director there. I have been away from touring and doing Hamlet and things, so I haven't been able to be there this season. We've had a tough season, but now, having just beaten Manchester United 4-0, we are in a very good place. And so, yes, the wonderful football is coming out of Crystal Palace. You know, and my aunt lived across the road. So I'm actually not from Crystal Palace, but my aunt and uncle lived across Selhurst Park's there. They lived there on White Horse Lane. So it was they just got the first division in 1969. And me and my brother go and see a football match. I wasn't even really into football at that time. And we go, oh, and then that's your team. Dad was Arsenal, you know, but then Dad became Crystal Palace, and you know, and you support teams however you do it. But
of course,
they're doing good now. And so yes, you're at that ground.
Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, well, look at that connection. And now you know.
Now I know.
You filmed at Selhurst Park. Well, you can watch Hamlet at Riverside Studios in London from the 23rd of May to the 30th of June.
OK, now then, Stella's been in touch, Eddie.
Yes.
Stella says Eddie was totally spellbinding in Great Expectations.
Oh, that's wonderful.
She
Thank you.
loved
I
it.
love
Isn't
that.
that nice?
Some Eurovision comments as well. Lorna has said, we are throwing a Eurovision garden party barbecue with friends and family tomorrow.
Perfect.
And myself and my daughter have been busy making the bunting and decorations to go up ready for tomorrow. Hopefully we get 12 points.
It's nice to see when people make an effort, isn't it?
very good.
Lovely.
Thank you so much to all our guests. That is nearly it for tonight. But just before we go, we've got one more treat for you.
Yes, here to take us into the weekend with his single, which Eddie is going to pronounce now. Eddie?
Non ho capito niente.
Perfecto. It's the super talented Jack Savoretti.
I don't understand it. I think they stole the sea. Together we can fake it if you still love me. Alone but never lonely, not afraid of pain. The future in our eyes and blood in our veins. Tell me where I need to go to understand. Have I lost another night letting go of your hand? It's not that I choose to forget. I see you walking through the cars out in the street, wondering what this life means to me. We both feel nothing else makes sense when we're senseless. I'll write the truth, I'll do it here with all the words I've never said to you. Ho paura di dirti che non ho capito niente. Mi vendo tra la gente che paga a peso d'oro. Ma se ti cerco ancora, non hanno vinto loro. There's still a wide, wide ocean running through my veins. Whoa. Tell me what I need to do to understand. If I lose another night letting go of your hand, it's not that I choose to forget. I see you walking through the cars out in the street, wondering what this life means to me. Noi siamo il controsenso. Che senso? Ti scriverò, magari qui, parole che non ti ho mai detto. I'm afraid to say that I just don't understand it.